It's almost midsummer here in the Adelaide Hills. In a normal summer with hot, dry weather, this garden would be showing signs of stress. But as a result of plentiful rain in spring, followed by cool days, this garden is looking pretty good. Come along for a 15-minute tour. Lots of umbelliferous plants in this garden, including carrot and plenty of buddleias. The hydrangeas weren't cut back last spring. Now we've got a large abundance of flowers. In hot, dry summers, these tend to wilt, and people quite often use colourful beach umbrellas to protect them. Here in the fern garden, the camellia seems to like this situation. Lots of flowers. The Burnham laurestinus makes a very nice hedge. This has recently been clipped and there's nice fresh growth coming. It does suffer from thrips infestation, particularly on the shaded side of the shrub. This has been given a systemic insecticide, which has got rid of those. A nice place to meditate. Now here we've got step over apples on this little trellis here, more like a trip over apple. 3 different varieties: Pink Lady, good old English name I've forgotten just a moment, Fuji. Coming back to that is Cox's Orange Pippin. Speaking of English apples, here we have the much favourite English apple, the Bramley. They put them in apple pies, their favourite apple pie apple. I think the thing is though, it is the only good thing this apple is good for. They're a great big apple. In this part of the world they sunburn badly, get infected by codling moth, which is really, we're supposed to control it, but this is a pheromone dispenser, hopefully keeping away or disrupting the male moths from mating the females. But not particularly effective in a small home garden like this. This old apple tree has had everything cut off it, and the regrowth has been trained into what is called festoon. Sadly, it does need a lot of trimming back to get that particular hoop shape everywhere. 3 varieties of apples on here: Jonathan, Granny Smith and Golden Delicious. Festoon. This was our chook yard. Fortunately, no more chooks in here, no more rats, no more snakes. Excellent. We now keep captive our stone fruit. Sadly, due to the wet, windy spring weather, we have no peaches, we have no nectarines, we have no apricots, very few cherries. We might get some mulberries. And again, not too many. We've also had a good crop of raspberries. Back around Christmas time. We'll get our next crop in autumn. The strawberries have done quite well this year with the cooler, moist conditions. Every garden has a lemon tree, There's strawberry guava, tangelo, asparagus, rhubarb and corn. Concealed in here are our prize-winning cherries, all half dozen of them. This is another method of torturing trees in this garden. This is the espalier method, stretching out laterals along various supports. There was meant to be a nectarine in there, but sadly not. We do have figs. The crop will mostly come in around Easter time. And we do have artichokes, globe artichokes, grown here for their flowers. Too fiddly to be bothered about eating them. We do have an excellent crop of apples on this tree, crab apples, grown for their blossom. Over here we have an avocado tree. We occasionally find an avocado in amongst all this green foliage, somewhere in here. Found it! One side of the garden is devoted to indigenous plants, eucalypts, acacias, grevilleas, callistemons, melaleucas, hakeas. Well, as you can see, there's plenty of colour in this garden for this time of the year. And it's a garden where there's always lots of action, particularly from the gardeners. Weeding, mowing, planting, pruning, God knows. Plenty of action here from the bees too. Don't know where their hive is, it'd be an interesting taste of honey. This was to have been an artistic installation as a garden feature. Some river gum saplings cut from a woodlot, brought around here and planted one wet August, and this one kept growing. A hardwood cutting of a Eucalyptus comaudulensis. The botanical name was given to these in Italy by an Italian gardener and landscaper, named after a group of monks from area. In the millennium drought back in 2000, stringy bark trees around here really suffered, to the extent that some died. It was noticeable that English oak trees survive very well. Down the Onkaparinga Valley there's some very old oak trees and they look really fresh in that drought. The Gleditsia has put on very good new growth following the loss of the top of the tree in a storm. The variegated elm has in the past been attacked by elm leaf beetle. An injection of systemic insecticide into the trunk has kept them at bay for a couple of years. A favourite tree in the garden is the cork oak. What a corker! Bonjour. This is not a Monet painting. This is me sitting under the Australian Hills hoist, usually for airing our dirty laundry. But in this case, a beautiful display of clematis, or some people say clematis. Bring a cup of tea, will you? This garden has an abundance of roses, names of which I know little. I think that's Anzac up there. We'll call this the yellow rose of Texas. The instructions for the greenhouse said it would take about 3 hours to construct. It took more like 3 days. Here in this low-lying, moist part of the garden is a carnivorous plant, the honeydew, one of many varieties around the world. The plants exude a sticky substance and little insects come along and get stuck in that, and then they get suffocated, then they slowly dissolve and the plant absorbs the nutrients and that sustains them. Oh, my hand's getting stuck. Oh, I can't. Oh, that one. Help. I need a bit of help. Oh, that's starting to sting. Help. I need help. Help.